And welcome back to the water cooler, everybody. Well, here's a dirty little secret for you. Most journalists today are a joke. They're talking heads that depend on everyone else to do everything for them because they don't actually know how and or want to do anything for themselves. Except, of course, to read someone else's words off a teleprompter. They can do that just fine. I know that because I've worked with plenty of hosts in my career as a producer, and it took me until this moment in my career to actually produce for a journalist who I deeply respect, and that would be, of course, David Brody, host of the show. He's such a pro, I could compliment him all day. But enough about me, David, and the show. The real reason that I bring all of that up is because I want everyone to understand that the future of this industry is no longer in the old guard journalistic norms, but rather in the hands of the few upstanding young men and women who are taking matters into their own hands and asking the real questions that real Americans want to know. You know, the kind of thing that would make a CNN host cry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but then again, what doesn't make that man cry? But that's a question better left for another day. Because joining me now is one of those upstanding young men and women who are taking matters into their own hands in the media world, 15-year-old Brilyn Hollyhand, founder of the Truth Gazette. Brilyn, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You know, so I wanted to have you on because you recently interviewed Senator Ted Cruz and you asked if he would run again in 2024, and I want to play what he said.
Would you ever consider another run for president?
Absolutely. In a heartbeat. Yeah.
Yes. Well, since then, some major outlets have picked that up. Congratulations. It's awesome, including the Daily Beast, the Post Millennial. I'm curious, were you surprised by the reaction that so many outlets picked it up? I mean, I'm sure there's more than what I just mentioned.
Yes, absolutely. It's crazy. So we filmed the interview last Monday. I released the clip Wednesday morning. I flew back from Phoenix Tuesday night, got back to Phoenix. I got back from Phoenix and then released this clip. And I kind of expected it to get some traction, some headway there. Obviously, anything related to 2024 or future political runs usually always makes some news. But I didn't really expect it to get as big as it did. And it's blown up and it's been crazy. Your viewers, your audience can go watch the full interview now at thetruthgazette.com. The full interview's on there. We talk about his reaction to Beto running for governor, predictions for 2022, the border wall, Joe Biden, and so much more. The full interview is available now. But yeah, that clip where we talk about 2024 is so interesting. And I really do think from this interview now, I can predict here in my official capacity as a political commentator that Ted Cruz is going to make a run for president. I think he will announce next year in 2022. I personally also think I've met with President Trump. I think he's going to run in 2024. But I think he'll wait and make the announcement after the midterms. So I think we can really tell by this interview, and it's so telling because he's given answers like this in the past, but he hasn't really fully opened up as much as he did in the sit down. And I think from this, we can tell now that he is going to run, but I think he'll announce before Trump does in November. And I think he'll, want to get some headway there, some good ground game before Trump announces. So I think we'll see some more news coming from Ted Cruz pretty soon.
Interesting. Well, that was what I was going to ask you next. I mean, it's just interesting because do you think he'll be able to find success running again? I mean, you say he is, but I mean, that would realistically take a lot of Trump supporters to come out and support him if it's against Trump. Do you really think that's going to happen? I mean, people seem so dead set on him running, although he did bring up the point that, usually the second runner up, which is what he was in the past election, usually wins the next election as far as in 2016 goes.
Yeah, they did bring that point up. It's interesting. In prep for this interview, I was trying to decide what topics I want to talk about and everything, and the interview actually got cut short, so I had to cut a question going into it. This Ted Cruz was going to speak at America Fest to 10,000 young conservatives in Phoenix right after our interview. So I had to cut a question, and I was going through, my topics, trying to figure out what I could cut, and I came across me wanting to bring up 2024. And I was like, I'm going to ask this question because I don't think it's going to answer. I just want to get it on the record. I thought we'd get an interview and he would, give some answer of, I can't comment on that right now or it's too early, the typical political answer. I thought this is what we'd get. But I was like, I'm going to keep it. I want to get him on record saying something, and then we got this answer. So I think he's going to run. He brings up the point that he was the, Republican nomination runner-up last go-arounds. I don't know, whether he'd be able to win the nomination against Trump. I think it's pretty obvious now that Trump is going to run. And I personally do believe that he would get the, presidential nomination of the Republican Party. But there's always hope for Ted Cruz if he's interested in running. And give it a shot. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that'll certainly be good TV to see him up against Trump. I would be excited for that. But I also want to play a clip from the interview of him talking about Manchin not supporting the Build Back Better plan and the possibility of Manchin maybe becoming a Republican.
I think he's reluctant to do it, but I'll tell you this. If the extreme left is nasty enough to him that they could drive him over, they're so angry, they're so bitter, that if they're really nasty, we would welcome him.
Yes, we would. Yeah, I think they're hurting themselves there a little bit.
You know, this is such an interesting point because obviously, you know, the left freaked out at him. They were so angry, Manchin, I mean, for not voting with them. And it's like, well, actually, when you look at a map of West Virginia, which obviously AOC had not before because she was under the impression that he was going to vote just like she would as a representative of New York. Yeah, it's very interesting how politics have shifted so far with the people that now it's just, oh, you have to do what your political party wants, what at the federal level, what we want you to do. It's just, that's kind of what that sounded like to me. And, you know, obviously Ted Cruz brought up the point that, you know, he's going to be harassed. He is being harassed. Do you think that that he in the future might become a Republican?
You know, I wouldn't be shocked if Joe Manchin moves to an R beside his name, swaps that D out. You know, this isn't surprising. You have to remind yourself that Joe Manchin's been saying for months that he would not support the Build Back Better plan or the Build Back Better Act if the Democrats didn't give him what he wanted. I mean, this isn't a shock. This isn't like some breaking Washington news. He said this for months. Right. And the story actually broke the day before they sit down with Ted Cruz. It's like, I've got to get his comment on this. That's why I asked the question. And I think his answer is so telling because, you know, he says, we'll let Joe Manchin come to the Republican Party with wide open arms. I personally don't think that Joe Manchin is going to switch right now. I think he has that, you know, he's one of the most powerful people in the country right now because he has that D beside his name and kind of standing up and, you know, giving the middle finger to the Democratic Party. So I think he has that unique position right now. And I don't think he's going to let that power loose. But again, I'll say it. I'll reiterate his points. We will welcome Joe Manchin to the Republican Party with open arms if we want to. I think 2022 is going to be a fun year.
Yeah, I think a lot of conservatives, their concern is, can we even trust him on this? I mean, this is the first time that he's given us, or one of the first times he's given us real reason to believe that. I mean, he's voted against his party on several other things too, but, you know, nothing as big as this. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, but I think a lot of conservatives are still skeptical. I am curious on a personal level, you know, how did you get into this? What, you know, inspired you to start, you know, you founded the Truth Gazette, but what inspired you in general to just be interested in media?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm 15 years old now. I started this when I was 11. So my interest in politics began when I was 10 years old, watching the 2016 presidential election. And I said, you know, I'm so this is so interesting. I've always been kind of this American history nerd. But when 2016 rolled around, I started watching the debates and I started watching the election coverage. And it wasn't until July of 2017, Trump had been in office for 7 months then. And I said, you know, I've got to do something. The American people are, you know, being talked to by these talking head, propped up political pundits in Washington, D.C. studios, and they're not getting the real honest truth of what's going on in our country. And I said, you know, if the adults aren't going to do it, I'm going to have to. So I stepped up at the age of 11 in July of 2017 and founded this thing called the Truth Gazette. It was literally a small Word document, and I just picked out articles. And here we are now, growing this, you know, media empire over the past 4 years where I go into these interviews. I think I've done 45 interviews now across the country with some of the highest ranking political officials and pundits and commentators and army generals, senators, and governors. It's been incredible. It's been an incredible journey. It's all on my website, thetruthgazette.com, all the interviews, all the articles, all the podcast episodes. We're looking to keep growing now. I mean, next year is going to be a really pivotal year with the election in 2022. Mm-hmm. And I think the American people are really seeing, and you're seeing this pushback from American people, that for 4 years, the Democrats were whining and complaining that, oh, you know, if we're in power, it's going to be great. It'll be a wonderful America. Well, Democrats have been in power for almost an entire year now. We're coming to the end of 2021. And look how bad the country is. So I think the American people have realized that when they elected a clown to office, this is the circus that was to follow.
Yeah, well, I do have to end it here, but I do want to ask, just to clarify, you said you started when you were 11 years old?
Yes.
My goodness. That is really impressive. I was like picking my nose in math class at 11. So, I mean, wow. And I think that's probably true for a lot of people. So, but anyways, thank you so much, Brilyn. That was just incredible. I mean, great work that you're doing. Really appreciate you being on.
Absolutely. Happy New Year. Thank you.
You too. Hey, that's Future of America, and I'm happy about that, or at least the media industry, not America. We need more of those in order for it to be the future of America. Stick around till after the break. We have Last Sip.